Welcome to Part 2. If you haven't viewed Part 1, it is recommended that you do so before continuing. Factor 6, lowered job motivation. An employee will experience erosion of job motivation due to the stress of trying to get along with a difficult person. As a baseline figure, Dr. Dana starts with the productivity that would have occurred had there been no conflict. Then estimate a percentage decline of that productivity. He looks at productivity in terms of an employee's salary, in that the salary is what it takes to achieve this level of productivity. For example, we estimate it would amount to $14,000. Factor 7 is lost work time. Absenteeism has also been shown to correlate with job stress, especially the stress associated with anger towards coworkers. This stress, combined with disregard of how one's absence impacts others, leads to employees choosing to take time off, personal days or sick days. The portion of lost work time that has resulted from your targeted conflict is largely hidden from your direct view, with the possible exception of your own absences. Still, you can arrive at an estimate by prorating daily or monthly compensation. Again, be sure to enter a conservative estimate on your worksheet. As a guideline, you may use 10% of the annual salary of employees in conflict. Using that formula in our example yields $8,000. Factor 8, health cost. Illnesses and injuries requiring medical attention are partially originated in the mind, and conflict contributes to their health status. Since the number of claims affects the premium paid by an employer to its insurer, insurance is an indirect cost of workplace conflict. Admittedly, this component is difficult to ascertain, and you may not be privy to the insurance cost of your employer. So, enter a conservative figure based on your knowledge of these matters. A shortcut is to enter 10% of the number you have entered for Factor 6, lowered job motivation, since the stress that results in reduced productivity is also related to our physical health. We're going to use 1400 on our worksheet. Remember, at the start of this section on assessing cost, I emphasized that unmanaged employee conflict is perhaps the largest reducible cost in organizations today and probably the least recognized. This worksheet gives us an idea of the results of not managing conflict in the workplace. Our conservative estimate could easily amount to over $60,000 depending on how the conflict plays out. But let's just look at wasted time, lowered job motivation, lost work time. Those three alone amount to almost $30,000. If you do nothing, there is a cost to your organization. We strongly recommend heading off conflict in its early stages. That's when it's the easiest to untangle and is the least expensive. So, how did Fred and Wanda resolve their conflict?
Aw, come on, Fred. I don't know. Listen, why don't you give those conflict resolution people a call? You know, I hear they do pretty well in these situations.
That's the same old management line in fancy new packaging.
Oh, I mean, seriously. What have you got to lose? Give them a call.
Yeah. Maybe I will.
All right, Fred. Go for it. We could all use the peace and quiet.
And you're sure I wouldn't be giving up any legal rights by trying mediation? Right. So you get back with me after you've talked with her? Okay. Thanks. Well, the joke's probably on me, but it looks like I'm in for the whole 9 yards. I just talked with the ADR coordinator, and he said that this situation is entirely appropriate for mediation.
Sure, I'll get right back with you. Okay. Bye. I just talked with Fred Carter and got a preliminary sense of the situation. It sounds like a pretty serious dispute that the parties have been unable to work out themselves, and that's causing considerable tension for everyone involved. Just the kind of thing that mediation is appropriate for.
We'll both meet with the mediator on Wednesday. When the ADR coordinator told me what he and Fred had in mind, my first impulse was, absolutely not. Making personnel judgments and decisions is my job. And not even an ogre like Fred is going to force me into giving him something he hasn't earned. And then I heard something that made me reconsider.
I understand your reservations, but let me give you a couple of facts about mediation that you may not be aware of. You and Mr. Carter would be working with a well-trained neutral mediator who'd keep no record of the discussions and have nothing to gain from the outcome. The mediator is a facilitator, not a judge, and the disputants control and determine the outcome. Now, whether or not you and Mr. Carter resolve the problem is entirely up to the two of you. That's right. And any agreement you might reach would be crafted only by yourselves. Exactly.
Surprised by any of that? I was. And there's more. Apparently 80% of all mediated disputes end in resolution, and it generally takes just a few hours to a couple of days to do it. I know it sounds too good to be true, but when you think of the time and effort involved in taking disputes through the EEO system or the courts. But yes, I agreed to try it. I'm not thrilled about giving Fred another forum to air his accusations, but I probably don't have a better choice right now. That mediator better get herself a good night's sleep. She's going to get an earful from the both of us.
Mr. Carter. Ms. Johnson.
Hello.
I'm Molly Green, and I'll be acting as your mediator.
Morning.
Thank you for coming in. I realize it's not easy for either of you. Good. Now I'd like to ask each of you to say a little bit about what you'd like to accomplish with this mediation. Fred, could we start with you?
Oh, I think that Wanda, Miss Johnson, knows what my concerns are.
I only know too well what your complaints are. In all honesty, I think there's been too much time talking about them already. I don't know what he hopes to accomplish by going over it all again.
Well, let's just hear what he has to say.
Do you see what I'm up against? No matter what I say or do, or how much I do, or how well I do it, it's never enough to get me ahead.
And you see what I'm up against. I have 20 other inspectors in the field besides him, and yet I get constant grief for not giving him special consideration.
Special consideration? She won't even give me the time of day, much less special consideration.
Well, we have our work cut out for us, but that's normal at this stage of the process. It's a little early, but maybe we should take a few minutes to meet separately so that you can talk freely and confidentially about how you view the problem and what your concerns are.
I think so.
It's fine by me.
Would you be interested in trying that?
I think so. But what if the whole thing goes back to business as usual, the way it always seems to? How would we handle that?
Well, we could try trusting each other's motives for a change.
Okay, let's do it.
Congratulations. Would you like to put something in writing, or would you rather just shake on it?
Well, no offense, but I'd like something in writing, too.
That's fine by me.
Did something magical just happen here? Not exactly. Have Fred and Wanda reached a workable agreement that's likely to hold up in the real world? It looks that way. Time will tell. Will they live happily ever after, conflict-free? Maybe not. But experience tells us that their working relationship and their workplace environment will probably improve significantly. And that's good for everybody concerned. Remember, conflict on the job isn't just unpleasant. It can affect the quality of your work, your relationships on the job, even your home life. Unaddressed, it can end a promising job or career. And, in its extreme, it can even end in violence. Mediation isn't the answer for everyone, or for every problem, but it is a proven choice that's working for people like Fred and Wanda, and many other of your coworkers too.
If you or someone you know seem to be in a hostile work environment, please give us a call. We offer free consultation. Our mission is to provide effective solutions to difficult situations through mediation, to reach agreement at the lowest level possible, and to provide stability after the mediation. We also provide training to help organizations reduce the amount of negative conflict that they have in their organization. You can find us on the web at www.mediatewithfs.com.